Today we're talking about dividing decimals. Let's review division with whole numbers. So if I gave you the problem 732 divided by 12, I would rewrite that in a long division problem. So this first number goes underneath the house, which is a phrase that some people use. So 732 divided by 12. So this is the long division bar. Divided by 12, 12 goes on the outside. Now you just go through and divide, seeing how many times 12 goes into each of these numbers. I first asked myself, does 12 go into 7? No, 12 goes into 7 0 times. So then I asked myself, well, how many times does 12 go into 73? Well, put my math over here. I think it's going to be around 6. 12 times 6 is 72, so I write 6 up here and 72 down here, and I subtract. 73, take away 72 is 1. I bring down my remaining number, and then I notice 12 goes into 12 one time. 1 times 12 is 12, and I have a remainder of 0. So that's how I do long division. I can check my answer by just multiplying what I got, 61, by 12. 61 times 12, here's my math, and I end up getting the same number that was on the inside of my problem to begin with. So my answer checks out. Vic number 1, very important concept number 1. If there is a decimal underneath the long division bar, rewrite it on top. So here is my first problem, 4.9 divided by 7. 4.9 goes on the inside of my division bar and 7 goes on the outside. I take a look and I've got a decimal underneath the division bar, so I need to rewrite it on top, which is what I did. Then from that step, I can go ahead and continue my long division. 7 goes into 4 0 times. 7 goes into 49 7 times, because 7 times 7 is 49 exactly. So the answer to this problem is 0.7. Problem number 2, 21.2 divided by 16. This looks like a fraction, but it's really a division problem. 21.2 divided by 16. So I rewrite it, 21.2 divided by 16. So I ask myself, well, the first step is to take my decimal and put it directly up on top of the division bar. Then I ask myself, does 16 go into 2? No. Does 16 go into 21? Yes, one time. 1 times 16 is 16. I subtract and I get 5 left over, and so I bring down my 2. Does 16 go into 52? Yes, it does. 3 times. I had to check it out here. So 3 times 16 is 48. I subtract, and I'm left with 4. Now, I don't have any numbers left over. Originally, I would have a remainder of 4. But in 6th grade, we are not writing a little R4 because we're dealing with decimals. We can continue on by adding extra zeros until we get to no remainder. So I have to add a 0 and bring it down. Does 16 go into 40? Yes, it does. It goes into 40 twice. 2 times 16 is 32. I'm going to subtract, and that leaves me with 8. Again, I can't just write R8. I need to keep going with my problem until I get a remainder of nothing. So I'm going to have to add another 0 to my problem, bring it down, and I have to see how many times 16 goes into 80. 16 goes into 80 exactly 5 times. So this is my answer. There are no remainders. My answer is 1.325. Now you will get some problems that have decimals on the inside and the outside of your division sign, of your long division sign. That creates a little problem. We cannot have any decimals out here, so we need to fix it. The way we fix it is stated here in our Vic number 2. When dividing decimals by decimals, you must make sure to move the decimals of both the divisor and the dividend so that divisor has no decimal. Just in case you're wondering, this is the divisor out here. The dividend is on the inside. The dividend is what's being divided. The divisor is what we're dividing the dividend by. I know it's kind of complicated, but here it is visually. So basically, we cannot have a decimal out here. That doesn't help our mathematics. So to ease our math problem, we are going to just simply move this decimal over, and what we do to the outside, we also need to do to the inside, and we've got a new problem. 515.78 divided by 41. Essentially, I just multiplied by both numbers by 10 so that I have my divisor as a whole number. So we've got some examples here of problems where I've had to move my decimal of my divisor. If you look, this is the same problem that we had before. We just rewrote it. So I had 51.578 divided by 4.1. What I had to do is I had to move both decimals over 1. So the outside number is a whole number. Once I've done that, my decimal is here, and I move it up. Don't forget that step. Once you've moved it over, move it up. Then you complete your division, your long division. 41 goes into 5 0 times. 41 goes into 51 once. 1 times 41 is 41. I subtract and I get 10. I brought down my 5. 41 goes into 105 twice. 2 times 41 is 82. I've got to subtract. When I subtract, I have to borrow. 5 take away 2 is 3, but 0 take away 8, I can't do that, so I have to borrow. So I take 10 from this 1, it becomes 0, and my 0 in the middle becomes a 10. So I have 10 take away 8, and that's 2. Bring down this 7. 41 goes into 237 5 times. I had to check it over here using multiplication. So 41 times 5 is 205. Again, I subtract, I get 32, and I bring down this 8. 41 goes into 328 8 times. I had to check it to make sure, and it goes in exactly. So my final answer is 12.58. If you got 1.258, then it's incorrect. The reason is we had to move our decimal and bring it up. So if you see that in your in your division problems, that you've got the right digits, but your decimal's in the wrong place, then we're forgetting the first step. So keep that in mind. Example number 2. 7.904 divided by 1.3. Inside my long division bar, I write 7.904 and I have 1.3 on the outside. Well, I'm not allowed to have a decimal on the outside, so I have to move both decimals. And once I moved both decimals, I move the decimal straight up into my answer. And then I go about my dividing. Can 13 go into 7? No. Can 13 go into 79? Yes. It can go in 6 times. I have to check my answer. I have to check my multiplication over here. But 13 times 6 is 78. 79, take away 78 is 1. Bring down my 0. Can 13 go into 10? No. I had to put a 0 and bring down my 4. Can 13 go into 104? Yes, it can. It can go in 8 times exactly. I had to check myself. 8 times 13 is 104. So I have no remainders left over. I don't want any remainders left over. I need to get all the way to 0 here. My final answer is 6.08. Sometimes it helps, once you move both decimals, it will help to erase it so that you're only seeing the whole number. And you can erase it here so that you're really looking at the numbers and not getting confused by where the decimals are. By taking care of the decimals in the very beginning of the problem, you should be all set for your answer. you to try these 4 problems for homework tonight. Please show all your work. Work them through slowly, step by step. If you need to, rewind this video and see how I walked through those problems before. This last one, you'll need to actually move the decimal more than once. So number 4 is kind of a challenge problem. Good luck.